"Give your sister your penthouse as a wedding gift," my father declared into the mic, before 200 guests. I froze. Then a stranger stood and said, "Touch her assets again and you'll lose yours." I was smiling when it happened, a practiced smile, the kind you learn when your family treats applause like oxygen and inheritance like leverage. The ballroom lights were hot, the champagne too cold, and my name was being carved into a sentence I hadn't agreed to live. My father leaned into the microphone like a benevolent king. A generous gesture, he called it. My penthouse, my signature on the deed had dried 2 years earlier, after my mother died, and I rebuilt myself with silence and spreadsheets. He didn't look at me when he said it. He never does when he takes. I didn't speak. I measured the room. My sister's veil shimmered. Her smile was perfect. She knew. She always knows. I tasted iron. I swallowed it. Then the stranger stood. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "Touch her assets again," he said, calm as a ledger, "and you'll lose yours." A ripple went through the room. My father laughed, a soft, dismissive sound. Security shifted. The stranger sat back down. I breathed, slowly. The plan was already finished. This was just the receipt printing. We weren't always like this. Once, my father taught me how to read contracts at the kitchen table. He told me power was foresight. My sister braided my hair and told me secrets. I believed both of them. I believed family was a hedge against storms. Then my marriage collapsed under the weight of secrets that weren't mine. My husband's investments were bleeding. My father suggested I help. I did. I refinanced, I covered, I learned. When the truth surfaced, embezzlement, forged guarantees, I didn't scream. I divorced him quietly. I paid nothing. I watched who flinched. My father flinched when I stopped asking him for advice. The first sign was small, a clerical error in a trust document. My name moved, a comma relocated. The second sign was social. Invitations stopped arriving with my +1. The third was financial. A lien request routed through a subsidiary I owned, signed by someone who wasn't me. I kept my voice level. I made copies. I slept 8 hours a night. I hired a forensic accountant who spoke like a metronome and billed like a surgeon. I asked a lawyer one question: how do I let them keep digging? I didn't confront. I watched. They used my sister's wedding like a deadline. Emotion is a solvent. Weddings dissolve boundaries. They counted on that. They counted on me freezing. What they didn't count on was how quiet competence looks like surrender. I separated my holdings into shells with teeth. I transferred voting rights. I filed notices. I recorded calls where my father explained, patiently, why I should do the right thing. I let him think I was tired. I let my sister think I was proud of her. The stranger wasn't a stranger. He was my counsel's counsel, the kind of man who doesn't enter rooms unless the room needs to end. When he stood, it wasn't a threat. It was disclosure. The climax didn't explode. It unfolded. After the toast, the band played. After the band played, the registrar delivered an envelope to my father's table. He read. His smile thinned. He stood too quickly. The envelope contained 3 things: a court order freezing accounts tied to a pattern of self-dealing, a notice of breach that triggered a cross-default he'd ignored, and a summary, concise, of evidence showing intent. My sister found me near the bar. Her eyes were sharp now. "You did this," she said. "I finished it," I said. "You started it when you asked me to sign." My father approached. His voice dropped. "We can fix this." I looked at him. Really looked. The man who taught me foresight had mistaken control for immunity. "You can't," I said. That was the fix. Security didn't touch anyone. They didn't have to. The guests watched as a king realized the crown was leased. The penthouse stayed mine. The trusts reverted. The subsidiary he used to siphon fees now belonged to a board he couldn't influence. His reputation didn't shatter. It thinned. That's worse. He still goes to dinners. He just doesn't speak as much. I didn't take joy. I took inventory. Later, alone, I stood on my balcony. The city hummed. I thought about the moment he said my name into a microphone without asking me first. I thought about how freezing is a choice that looks like fear, but is actually patience. Revenge isn't loud. It's precise. It doesn't ask permission. It waits for the echo to fade and then edits the record. I keep the deed in a safe. I keep the recordings archived. I keep my distance. Power, it turns out, isn't about taking. It's about ensuring no one can take from you again. If you ask me what I feel now, I'll tell you the truth. Relief. Clean, cold relief. The kind you earn when you stop begging the people who